Spirit of the Lord. We can see that this is not a physical trip. It's a spiritual trip, which means his hand came upon me, brought me out in the Spirit. So this is a vision. Amen. But it's pulling him, the hand of the Lord is pulling him out of the flesh and putting him into the Spirit. Come on, say, turn up the heat. The only way you can get into the Spirit is when the heat is turned up. And that's what, there's what we call, there's what we call the pineal gland. It releases a certain hormone. But for us who are spiritual, it's called, its nickname is the third eye. So God was speaking to me. That's the eye that can see beyond the physical. That's the eye that sees the visions. So he says he took me up and brought me out. Brought me out. Because when you're in the flesh, you cannot see the things of the Spirit. That is why the word comes now. Turn up the heat. Because the restoration is here. But you need to turn up the heat. So it says the hand brought me out in the Spirit of the Lord. And he set me in the midst of the valley. And it was full of dry bones. So it was not a beautiful sight. It was not a beautiful picture. And the Lord explains the vision in verse number 11. Fast, one. If you go to 11, 12, 13. He says, Son of man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. They indeed say, our bones are dry, our hope is lost, and we ourselves are cut off. Which means God is taking Ezekiel, his prophet, to the valley of dry bones to show him a spiritual reality that reveals a physical truth. And he is saying to him, unless you address it in the Spirit, it cannot manifest in the physical. There should be a prophet who will stand behind the scenes and administrate what must manifest in the physical. Come on. And then he says to him, go back to verse number 1. And then he says to him, Son of man, verse number 2, can these bones, and he caused me to pass by them all around. He made me to walk up and down. The sight is not beautiful. It is dry. I don't know what the bones of your life that are there that may be dry. It's not a beautiful sight. When you are taken up into your thought and you start thinking and you are alone and you see the dryness of your finances and you are alone, you see the dryness of your health and you are alone, you see the dryness of your marriage. The Lord has sent me here for you. That dry is not dry for him. He cannot do anything unless you give him something to work with.
That's right. Come on.
What makes him Jehovah Rapha the healer is that there is a sickness. What makes him Jehovah Jireh the provider is that there is a need. If you don't give him something to work with, there's nothing that he can do. He does something because there's something that has to go. So these bones are dry. They are dry. And when he asked his prophet, he says, can these bones live? Those are some of the situations as servants of God when we encounter and your daughter or your son comes and tells you how dry the season is in the marriage, in the finances, and no, this too shall pass, because he who has begun a good work in the person's life shall finish it. God is not a man that he should lie, nor a son of man that he can ever change his mind. He speaks and he accomplishes whatever he says. So the Bible tells us that the valley was full of dry bones, which means every bone was misplaced. It was not even a skeleton, it was bones. It was bones, I don't know how your situation looks. Maybe it's bones. It's bones. You cannot even put it together to form a structure. You have no idea what it really is. It is bones. Your business is bones. Your marriage Your health may be bones, but my God has sent me here to tell you that He is faithful. He says He will not only make that thing live, He's going to join the bones together, and He's going to put sinews on the bones, and He's going to put muscles on the bones, and He's going to put flesh on the bones, and He's going to put His breath on the bones. Which means the bones will move from being bones to being a skeleton, from being a skeleton to being a lifeless body, from being a lifeless body to a body that is alive. Because He's not a man that He should lie. That is why He says, tell them that I, the Lord, that name Lord, there's the name Yahweh. It's not God, He says Lord. Yahweh means self-existent. Nobody created me, but I created all things. How evil when I learned. Because even these bones that you see, I created them. These bones that you see, I put them together. Nobody created me. I'm the self-existent God, the eternal God that is from everlasting to everlasting. I don't know what the devil may have told you. I don't know how much promises he has already made you accept. So uzofanele obituary. Ngoba lento seyimathanga. So uyayivalelisa. Awuyiva wena lenzaba. You are already prepared to let it die. You are already prepared to bury it. Usaruthola nyana ngoma handkerchief lokufenswe. All ka organize and say yaphuma lo. Ine sekune YouTube yabona nje. Levels. You see, the Lord, I like this. Many times we tend to think it is the devil that is doing it against His court. The prophet says it's the hand of the Lord that brought him out and put him in the valley of dry bones. Many times when you are faced with this valley, even in your mind, because this was a spiritual journey, we already know that it was not physical. He was addressing something in the spirit that was being addressed in the physical. When the Lord carries you up, breaks you out of the physical and places you in the spiritual, you see the problems and then you want to get sick and admitted. You see the financial crisis, you see the marital problem, and then you see what God says to the prophet. He says prophesy to them, speak to that problem that you see, which means it can move from being a problem to being a breakthrough. Don't see it as a problem. You know your thought can take you further. Bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. But God has sent me here to tell you that He is faithful.
Come on.
He needs something to work with. Give it to Him and He will turn it into wine. Even when Jesus had to give them wine, they had to be water. We tend to think that the things that overpower us will overpower God. No, God exists all by Himself. He's Jehovah. Nobody created Him.
Come on.
Verse number 2. Baba 1. No, 3. Let's go on. We've read 2. He says, and He said to me, Son of man, can these bones live? Can these bones live? The doctors have given you the report. Can you live? Your finances don't look healthy. Can you live? Your marriage doesn't look healthy. Can you live? Your children are misbehaving. Can you live? Your business seems like it's falling apart. Can it live? And God says, yes, it will live. You know why? Because it's not by might, nor is it by power, but by my spirit, says the Lord. If you read that text, you will see many times it says, I will. Not you, son of man. I, my God, me, myself, and I. This is no longer a man agenda. This is a God agenda. I will. That is why when He says it's not by might, not by power, but by my spirit. You know when something is still at level, ne? It's at the human level. If una manja ebantu, that is the might level, which means you are Gmail, then you are address. You fast for it, you give for it, then you are address. It was no longer a might level. It was no longer a power level. It was now a spirit level. So he says it's not by might, not by power. I will quickly say we address. It's by my spirit. For your bones to live, it's a spiritual thing. It's only by the Spirit of God that they will live. It's only by the Spirit of God that the bones will move from being just bones scattered all over, from being just bones not understood, to a place where they come together. The Bible tells us that when the prophet began to prophesy, he heard a sound. The bones were coming together. The arm bone was finding the neck bone. The neck bone was finding the chest bone. They were matching. Why? Because the prophetic word of God has the ability to collect every bone, every bone, every bone, every bone, and put it together for the glory of God. It has that. Another thing, that is why we say, I sent my word and healed them. This man figure lendum seven. He said, Son of man, prophesy to this bone. When he spoke to them, the finger bone had to find the arm bone. The arm bone had to find the neck bone. It had to come together.
That's right.
Because it was the word of the Lord. I'm here as a prophet of God this morning. I'm here to prophesy. I don't know how dry the bones may have been, but I speak to them now in the mighty name of Jesus. I don't know if it may be the bones of your business, bones of your calling, bones, whatever. I'm speaking to those bones. I'm saying those bones will live. I'm saying to those bones must get muscles, get flesh, get sinews in the name of Jesus. May your finances live, may your marriage live, may your health live. I don't care what report you may have gotten. May the business live, may it rise in the name of Jesus, because you're in a season of restoration. They were in Babylon. When they were taken into Babylon, they were fine. But it was in Babylon where the Bible tells us in verse number 11, that Son of Man, these bones are the whole house of Israel. They indeed says our bones are dry. Before that, they were once healthy. Before that, they once had hope. Before that, they did not feel cut off. But in Babylon, that's how they began to feel cut off. That's how they began to feel hopeless. They began to feel forgotten by God. I don't care what kind of Babylon may be holding you today. I don't care how Babylon may be like a stronghold over your finance, over your life, over your health, over your marriage, over your business. I am here to declare in the mighty name of Jesus, as a prophet of God, that you shall live in the mighty name of Jesus. You need to tell your neighbor, come on, get up and tell 3-4 people that I shall live. My finances shall live. My family shall live. My children shall live. I shall live. And there are some things you need to understand. That your living is no longer dependent on you. It's dependent on God. There are times when you've prayed and you thought the Lord will fix it now, and the Lord did nothing about it. You know the vision that I saw when the Lord was giving me the message. Come, you're not wearing shoes, you're fine. On restoration. Ambala, utomana. was like, I'm cutting you. Must want to Bible can't tell this, Mama to exit or say, Nakins how very many Fagalaman creates alive. No, when God calls you, you must be real. Oh, so I know what's wrong with This is how it is before restoration. When you are in Babylon and things are going bad, this is how it is. You pray, that's God. You pray, you throw in your prayers into your prayer basket. You pray for your health, nothing is happening. For your children, nothing is happening. For your finances, nothing is happening. When God comes now to restore you, the Bible says, and then God remembered Noah. God restores you because he has remembered you. The word remember is the Hebrew word zakar. It means to bring to focus, which means he goes now and he takes your basket and brings it to focus. Pastor Adam can walk around with my picture in his pocket. But him not looking at it is him not bringing me to focus. But the minute he sits down and he takes out his phone, I'm always on his phone screen. But he never takes time to look at me. He's busy with his life. But the minute he takes the phone and begins to focus on me, and then he looks at me on the photo, saying, my wife, she needs new earrings. Hey, my wife. You see, when you remember someone, you already remember the needs that they have. You remember to go back where you left them, and you go and fetch them, and you bring them where they're supposed to be. So when we speak of God having remembered you, we say God has brought you to focus. He has fetched you from where you were, and is bringing you to himself so he can take you where we should be. And then God remembered Rachel. She had no kids. The Bible tells us that God remembered who? Rachel. How did God remember Rachel? The minute he remembered Rachel, opened her womb and she conceived and she had a child. Some of you, the people will tell you, hey, no. When God, it's not that he has forgotten you, but he has not brought you to focus. Yes.